their homes, and a warning to people who are in total fire ban or emergency areas to follow the emergency broadcasts and download the Hazards Near Me app to make sure that you've got the latest information about the fires in New South Wales. I'm going to pass over to the RFS Commissioner, Trent Curtin, then Jihad Dib, then Fire and Rescue's Commissioner, Jeremy Futel. I just wanted to speak about a few things. As it stands, there are 75 bushfires in New South Wales, 19 uncontained fires across the state. That includes, or that's being managed or fought with 300 vehicles currently deployed by the RFS across New South Wales, over 1,100 deployed firefighters on the fire ground as we currently speak, and there are 9 aircraft that are working to contain the blazes on the New South Wales Central Coast. Just in relation to that fire on the Central Coast, we have 50 fire trucks, we have 250 firefighters and 9 aircraft that are currently attempting to contain that blaze, keep people safe, protect property. Obviously, the situation in Coolawong is devastating for the people who've lost their houses. We've got a confirmed situation of 12 damaged or destroyed homes as it currently stands, though that number may rise. There are no reports of missing, injured or killed individuals as it currently stands, which is good news. But I need to say that in addition to the fast-moving fire at Coolawong, it has spotted across Woy Woy Bay, which, as the Minister for Emergency Services tells me, is a 1 kilometre jump, and is currently into Fegans Bay on Woy Woy Bay Road. So that's for the residents in Nimbin Road, Glenrock Parade, Lara Street, Namala Avenue. They must leave now if it's safe to do so and head towards Woy Woy to safety. Look, this is obviously a confronting day, particularly for the Central Coast. This is a warning for everybody to follow the advice from the RFS, from New South Wales, please, from Fire and Rescue. We need to make sure we do everything we possibly can to protect lives, particularly over the next 12 to 24 hours as wind directions change and the weather patterns change. So download the Hazards Near Me app, listen to emergency broadcasts, and at all times listen to emergency service staff. They're only directions that to keep you safe and save your lives. It's hugely important that we do that today. I'm going to pass over to Trent Curtin.
Thank you, Premier. Today is a day of extreme and high fire danger across New South Wales. We're seeing high temperatures, strong and gusty winds and dry conditions across the state. We've had a number of new fires start today, and some of those fires have been of great concern to communities across the state. We currently have 2 fires in emergency warning, 2 fires at Watch and Act, and we are currently working to contain those fires. Across New South Wales, we have over 1,100 personnel deployed to fires across the state. In terms of the fire at Coolawong, we had a fire start in park areas on the Coolawong Peninsula. The fire moved very, very quickly into properties. We issued a Watch and Act and then escalated very quickly to an emergency warning and notified people by landline and by text message to warn them of that fire. RFS, supported by Fire and Rescue New South Wales, have over 300 firefighters in that area. We have around 50 appliances and we have 9 aircraft working on that fire. At the moment, we have our Chinook and another heavy aircraft, as well as 2 further medium helicopters and our large air tankers supporting those communities to suppress those fires and helping our firefighters. The Chinook helicopter will continue bombing operations as long as wind and weather permits through the night to continue to suppress that fire and to protect those communities. We're asking people to monitor conditions using the Hazards Near Me app and using media outlets. Any people who are impacted by that fire can go to the Gosford RSL or can take themselves to another safe area in Woy Woy or in Gosford. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner. And at the outset, I just want to thank all of our firefighters who are out there today, particularly we've got the volunteers with the RFS, as well as Fire and Rescue New South Wales, and you're also being supported by members of the SES who are undertaking some door-knocking activities. It's a day when everybody needs to come together, and of course, there are people who have lost their homes, and we'll work through that and we'll work with those families, and our hearts go out to them and to the community. The Premier and the Commissioner have pretty much summed up all of the logistical elements that we've got, and I want to assure people that we're throwing everything that we've got at these fires. There are multiple fires happening right across the state. The Wollongong one, for example, just started so quickly, and it moved from an advice through to a watch and act through to an emergency level. Just goes to show how quickly things can change. Today's conditions, we've been preparing for them. The community's been preparing with total fire bans, knowing we've got extreme weather. But it just goes to show how quickly things can happen. And again, I reiterate that message, that you don't take any risk with this sort of stuff. Have a look at the Hazards Near Me app. Listen to what the emergency service personnel are saying. Tune in to your local radios. And we're also using our emergency service alerts to get messages out to community. The evacuation centres, there are 5 evacuation centres in that part of the Central Coast and the Lower Hunter. If you need to go to them, go to them. There'll be safe transport. There's also been transport that's been accommodated, and we've got our emergency services personnel helping out in that way. Of course, we anticipate a change that will come hopefully through the night. In the meantime, our firefighters will continue doing the work that they're doing. They're ultimately about making sure that they protect the communities and making sure that everybody is safe. What we need from community is to not take risks, to follow instructions. This thing, as we've seen today, will move so quickly and do enormous damage. We can replace a property, but we can't replace a life, and we're urging people to make sure that they're careful, that they're safe, and they're following all instructions. Our safety is absolutely paramount. I'm just going to hand over to Fire and Rescue Commissioner Jeremy Futrell.
Thanks, Minister. Thanks, Premier and Commissioner Curtin. I'll just reiterate some of the points that Commissioner Curtin highlighted. The very challenging fire conditions we've dealt with this afternoon, very steep area of land where the fires were involved, limited access and, of course, very strong winds, together with the hot conditions, has meant it was a prime circumstances for the fire to spread rapidly, as we have seen. I'd also like to highlight the very close, coordinated and cooperative approach between Fire and Rescue New South Wales and RFS, as we've worked on this fire in particular this afternoon and the other ones across the state as well. At one stage through the course of the afternoon, we actually had RFS boat providing access to fire and rescue firefighters from the water to some of the properties involved, as that was the only way to access those properties. We'll continue to work through the night. We are expecting some changes in the wind, so we'll further make some challenging conditions through the course of the night, but certainly there's plenty of resources between Fire and Rescue New South Wales and RFS on scene to provide appropriate response, but also significant reassurance to the community. Thank you.
We're all happy to take questions.
Commissioner, wind changes through the night just mentioned the concerns. Are we worried about lightning strikes as well?
Yes, this afternoon we're seeing a band of lightning come across the state. That lightning is looking to head towards the Central Coast in the following half hour or so. We're also concerned about the wind change that is expected to come through overnight. We think that will come through somewhere between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. tomorrow. That will create very challenging conditions for firefighters, and we'll need to monitor those conditions, and we're asking members of the community in that area to monitor those conditions as well.
For that, I guess, broad Central Coast fire, has the main concern moved away from Coolabong now and towards that Woy Bay Road and that Egan area now?
No, we're concerned about both of those areas. The area around Fegans Bay, Woy Bay, we have a number of appliances in there. Conditions have eased a little, and we are getting on top of those fires, but we're still concerned about that area. The area around Coolabong, we want to continue to monitor those conditions, and we've got a lot of firefighters in there continuing to fight that fire.
That fire starting in Park area, obviously don't want to jump ahead, but is there any way that could have naturally occurred if we hadn't seen lightning strikes or anything there at the time?
The cause of the fire is unknown at this stage, and we'll have fire investigators having a look at that. We've joined with New South Wales Police and RFS to undertake those fire investigations.
How many people roughly are under those evacuation orders or shelter now orders, emergency warnings in general?
We don't currently have a count of the number of people who've been impacted by that, but we know that we've had around 60 people come to our Gosford RSL evacuation centre. Many of the community in that area have self-evacuated to other parts of Woy and to Gosford. The evacuation centre remains available for people, particularly as we move into the night and they want to make access to support services or to get help from the emergency services or from other parts of government.
We've seen properties lost in Bulahdelah, which I believe started yesterday, that fire. How has that behaved today?
Yeah, we were concerned about the Bulahdelah fire coming into today. We know that it had previously closed the M1 motorway. Today, conditions up there have been more favourable than we had expected. Our firefighters have worked very hard on that fire, supported by aircraft and our large air tankers, and that fire has been much better in terms of progress than we had expected today.
Would you consider moving those resources to the other fires like the Upper Hunter, Wagga Wagga, if those ones are of more concern?
Yes, we did. So we moved the Chinook and other resources that were up at Bulladila and moved them down to the Central Coast.
So when, you've got that early morning wind change, which is a problem as well, those bands of lightning, when are we going to see an actual real relief of conditions?
We're expecting to see easing of conditions over coming days. Tomorrow we'll have moderate conditions right across the state, and right through the week we'll see moderate conditions. This is an excellent opportunity for our firefighters to get on top of these fires and to get in and mop them up as quickly as possible.
Will any other aerial capabilities stay doing that besides the Chinook in the Central Coast?
We'll have other aerial capability there, but as soon as nightfall comes or wind conditions stop us from using those aircraft, they will all be grounded. It's the Chinook that can operate at night time.
Which is a new thing.
This is, if I can just add something to the Chinook, if I can, Commissioner. The Chinook is the only one of its kind in Australia that can operate at night time. There's no other aircraft that can do that, and it's because it's got an internal tank that RFS has installed last year. What it means is that we can continue with our night operations. It spent the day today as it's travelling through the area, mapping out where it needs to be, and it means that at night it can drop the water as per required when hopefully the conditions are a little bit better. It's something that we're it's incredibly important to the state of New South Wales that we have this Chinook, and we've seen its capability during the past week, and we'll continue to see that during the night.
Okay, we'll let them get back to their jobs. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.